Today it's time to look at the Vermont. I had an insane game in it the other day trying to finish up my anniversary rewards, and it's a bit of a brick. As we all know, Vermont is the biggest, the dumbest, the slowest battleship at tier 10, but when it hits, it feels pretty amazing. That 40-second reload can be painful, but when it hits, it's very much worth it. These are 457mm guns, so we're overmatching the Zhao everywhere. And even without a Citadel, we're taking half his HP. So sitting in the middle of a map like this, where we can shoot basically anywhere, is very good when it comes to a Vermont. Of course, it has a bit of a weakness when it comes to long range, now that they reduced the shell velocity, so it's a lot slower, a lot harder to hit things at range. But it is still really good at mid to close range, and if you can aim at long range, you're pretty good at that as well. The extra healing here is quite nice now that the heal is a faster cooldown. These are buffs that happened quite a while ago. I really do like it. Overall, though, I do think it's a little too stealthy given the firepower. But given that it has a 40-second reload, it maybe needs to be, considering a Republic gets around 2 salvos every time a Vermont gets 1. So something to consider, I guess, when it comes to this ship, but it's very good now, if a little bit annoying. With defensive fire, you can see we can take down some planes. A strike's still going to get through, but thanks to this better and improved acceleration, we can get out of the way of most of that strike and be relatively okay. I don't really want to push too aggressively in a Vermont. See Hindenburg's video from this week for the reason why. This ship is not fast, right? It is a little bit better now that they gave it better acceleration, but if you go in too deep, it's very hard to get away and not just die. Broadside Schlieffen, I'm trying to do a little bit better job with taking my time, and yeah, we get rewarded for it. So if you didn't see Flamu's video looking at some of the aiming bugs, there's something to do with this aiming system, and there's a delay, specifically when it comes to vertically aiming. So if you're looking at the water and then you quickly move your mouse up to snapshot at someone, well, the game doesn't actually take that into account and thinks you're still aiming at the water. This is how they tried to fix that hyper speed shell glitch, to give you insanely fast shells out to 20 kilometers. That's the fix for it. So a bit of a weird patch. But what it also means is you have to take your time when aiming now. And I've actually found that I am aiming way better. I'm getting way better salvos. Games like this are happening a little bit more often now that I'm slowing down. I was so used to just snapshotting at things, right? Just, okay, that's where I need to aim, click, done. And I think that's where a lot of the struggles were coming in from when it came to battleships. It also happened with fast DPM DDs, right? Where you're trying to move your mouse a lot. Trying to take your time there is a little harder, but it is worth it to try and hit as many shells on target as possible. It is something extra to focus on though, so it makes the game a little bit more challenging to play when it seems like you should be on target and everything should be fine, especially because the UI doesn't really show you that the vertical aiming hasn't caught up yet. But something to keep in mind when you're playing your battleships. Take your time, and I think you'll notice your aim gets a lot better just by holding your aim for an extra second than you think. I should mention though, Expert Loader, the new upgraded one for this patch, is amazing. You saw there we were loading AP for an extended period of time, and then I decided to swap over to the HE just to deal with this seemingly AFK destroyer, and I didn't have to reset my reload. I love this new Expert Loader. It's really, really good, and I think you should be taking it on almost every ship, unless you have an insanely fast reload like a DD or something. It's just such a good skill now. Taking my time again, notice that I didn't fire as soon as I possibly could there, and we get rewarded with Citadels. It's more consistent now that I'm taking my time. And Vermont needs that consistency because, again, 40 seconds, at least for me, is a very long time. It's not like I am the most interested in twitchy, fast-paced games. Otherwise, I'd be playing things like Valorant, CSGO, right? But it is a little bit long to be waiting 40 seconds between engagements in this game. And it's very frustrating for me when those 40 seconds that I'm waiting aren't rewarded with at least reasonable dispersion, even if I miss myself. It gets pretty frustrating. So a lot of frustration has actually left, like I said, now that I'm taking my time a little bit more. Pushing in, we're trying to recapture the B cap here. We were kind of stalled out behind the island there for quite a while, but I think we did a decent job of dealing with the enemy ships. And oh boy, a broadside carrier. This is Christmas, right? For a Vermont, it's Christmas. Again, I take my time. I even give up shooting the Napoli that is yellowing me just to get this salvo up. And I do think it's a pretty solid salvo, although I wouldn't have minded a couple more citadels. A dev strike or two would be nice there. But already up to 176,000 damage. This ship is really solid when these shells are landing. I really do think that this ship is awesome, but a little frustrating to play for that 40-second reload. And why I probably wouldn't recommend it for everyone all the time, but if you're willing to be patient with that reload, it's so worth it. Again, taking my time. Now we shoot dev strike, right? It's this little bit of a delay. Of course, to get all my guns off, I had to turn into where his torpedoes were, but I'm okay with that. Vermont has such an amazing torpedo belt, and, well, Napoli torps don't do all that much damage anyway, 7,000 each, and it's the end of the game, so it's really not a huge deal here either. We did a decent job of taking down planes as well, so a pretty good match for the biggest, dumbest, slowest battleship in the game. Keep in mind, though, I'm showing you a good result because it's a little more entertaining, right? Not all Vermont matches go like this. You don't always get 7 citadels, right? That's not always going to be the case. So keep that in mind before deciding to grind out this line. I also haven't played the updated tier 8 and 9 when they got the buffs, so those might still be a pain to play. I know Vermont certainly got the most buffs out of all of them. And there we go. We actually do manage to finish off the carrier. We had to try, at least at the end there. 235k, Dev Strike, High Caliber Confederate, always a good game like that. And with some of these new economic rewards, we're up over 1 million credits per game. It's pretty good, although keep in mind that does come with a lot of base XP, nearly 3,000 in this one. As for the build, we're still going with a pretty standard commander here, outside of Brisk. I think Brisk is a little bit odd on battleships, but on Vermont, we have such a long reload, we can make Brisk work at least half the time, even assuming we're firing every salvo. And with this amazing concealment, 12.6 is just ridiculous, right? We were looking at Hindenburg the other day, right? Wherever that ship is. And, I mean, what is this? 12.6 as well? Like, Vermont overmatches it. I still think the concealment's too much. I hope they nerf that back a little bit. But other than that, this is a really strong ship. And again, gun feeder is just awesome. I really enjoy that skill. And as for the upgrades, of course, we're going accuracy, the little bit of reload gained, and the lack of dispersion then is very frustrating. So it's not like you're getting a sub 30-second reload on this thing ever, so you may as well just go all in on those single salvos. Steering gears mod 1, simply because I enjoy the maneuverability. I think the extra healing allows us to get away with not taking all the fire reduction, and it works pretty well, especially if you play a little bit more passive. There are situations where I think being a little tankier is good as well, but I like being maneuverable. It's quite nice to have. I think Vermont's awesome. Like I said, it's just frustrating when you have to wait 40 seconds, and then maybe the salvo doesn't land like you thought. And that happens a lot on battleships, and then you have to wait another 40 seconds. It's where I enjoy things like Republic a little bit more, because you can afford to have a dud salvo here and there, because you're reloaded in 20 seconds, and it's not quite so taxing on the mental game. But let me know what you think in the comments below. I appreciate you watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.